Good afternoon from Butler High School to wherever you are. My name is Ken Macon, here with two brothers who are quite literally brothers to me. I've known of them for many years, and have had the good fortune to collaborate with Maine Bradley on More Than the Masters and just a lot of other endeavors. Really wanted to, well, I should say this is my first time talking to just you all as a collective. I'm very excited to introduce to you all, or I should say reintroduce, first, a basketball legend here at Butler High. And as I mentioned before, the host of the More Than the Masters podcast. Glad to have Don Coleman and Maine Bradley with me. How y'all doing today?
Thank you. How you doing, man?
What's up, man? How you doing? How you doing?
Doing great. I really wanted to have this conversation. I remember the first time I heard the name Don Coleman, it was accompanied with the number 40.
That's crazy.
And was like, 40? And I say this from the perspective of someone who has covered high school sports for many years and just have an appreciation for when you score 20 points in a game, in a high school game, just how much effort goes into that. So when you score 30, I'm like, hey, man, bring the scouts in. 40 is something totally different, man. And so, like I said, I saw the name Don Coleman and that 40-point outburst, and of course you would score many more points than that. I came across the name Maine Bradley, incidentally, as someone who was very supportive of the basketball of your basketball exploits, who out of brotherly love has really just carved out a media niche that's been so important to this area. And of course, we're going to talk a lot about Augusta. We're going to talk about More Than the Masters in Butler, but I want to talk about you guys' origins. I want to talk about where you guys come from. You guys are native New Yorkers. And so I would really want to get into just you all's life before Augusta, what that looked like, and some of what you guys may or may not remember. Maine, I'll start with you because you moved here when you were 15. Don was 8. So I'll kind of, we'll set the scene with, what was life like for you back before you moved to Augusta?
I loved it. I liked it. Don't get me wrong. Up until, of course, the time we had to leave, then, that last 8-10 months wasn't the greatest, but Don was young. He'll tell you couldn't tell a difference,
Mm-hmm.
Mom was to make sure we had or did the best she could, but life in New York it's like organized chaos, It's like, it's rough, it's dangerous, things can happen at any given moment. It's no dull moment up there, but at the same time, it was home. It's what you knew. It's all you knew. I can say that it definitely you grow up earlier in New York. I'll say that. So the average, I would say, 16, 17, 18-year-old here is like your 12, 11-year-old there. Mm-hmm. You grow up that fast. Once you're 11, when I had to use the term, you fresh meat. It's like you come outside, it's fair game now. You're 11, it's fair game. I don't care. The adults are dead. It's fair game at this point. Once you're able to start leaving your street, you're fair game. I told a story before, but just to give Ken a little thing here was 11. That kind of changed my life a little bit. My brother was down here, thank God, right? But me and my cousin were riding a bike, and he was like 16, 17-year-old, jumped into the bike, and that it opened my eyes to like, okay, it's for real out here. Like, it's not that little kid no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I watch adults watch it happen, like nothing happened. It was all good. You know what I'm saying? So when you ask me what it's like it's rough. It's rough. So yeah, it was rough. I don't know how else to give it to you. It was rough, and it didn't get any less rough after that day.
Gotcha. I do want to ask you not to minimize or trivialize the reality that you two grew up in, but just looking at you as a media member, like what in New York, Brooklyn?
Brooklyn, yeah.
What did it teach you about it's like storytelling and just the importance of just perspectives and narratives, just even at that young age?
Yeah, it teach you, and it don't teach you right then and there, but as time go on, in hindsight, you see that you learn that detail, because most times any story I'm telling, if I had paid attention to detail, that probably wouldn't have happened. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So detail is like super important, because that one thing I'm telling you in a story could make that storytelling like really great or really, really bad, or a detail leave out. But at the same time, you play it over and over in your mind so much that by the time I'm telling you the story, I done relived it 1,000 times. So even if I tell you a story now, I will think of a new detail to tell you. So details is super important. But that's what did for me. In perspective wise, just because everybody's so different. Everybody's different. You got tough guys, you got regular guys, you got weak guys, you got tough women, weak women. All that stuff is so many different parameters of how you look at things. Not even tough, weak, just smart. Not so bright. Like special, not special at all. You got all these different parameters. It's like it's really a melting pot for real. Not even just ethnic wise. It's a melting pot, mentally wise, physically wise, emotionally wise. It's all melting pots, and you're around all of that at any given time. So learning and kind of partnering and being friends with a Hispanic kid or a Jamaican guy, a Jamaican kid, or somebody from Ecuador, whatever. Like these all, it's your neighbors. So you start to see how different people live. What parents are more strict than others. Start to have a love for your parents a little more. Like, hey, my mom kind of loved me because, what I'm saying? Like she ain't doing all the other stuff they doing. So you grow up quick, and with the storytelling, it allowed me to really paint that picture. Like, hey, this is important because of this. So I might, when I'm storytelling, and I might tell you, I might do a sidebar. I love doing sidebar. I think I just did in this answer, but I do a sidebar, and that sidebar is to show you what the main point I'm trying to give to you. It just strengthen that point. So I might want to tell you my mom loved me and she was very caring, but in that process, I'm gonna tell you, well, I had a friend from Jamaica and his pops did this and his mom did this and this happened. That just to show you, hey, shed light back on my mom. Detail, So yeah.
For sure. No, I appreciate that. Don, I want to shift to you for a second because you moved here when you were 8. So, Maine is given, despite the fact he was, in his teens, he's talking about, basically 3 or 4 years of basically having to live like an adult, like, being, in a high stakes environment. You were still relatively young when you made that move. Just kind of talk about just your experience with New York, with being, having a protector of sorts, but still, filling things out.
For me, it was about the same. But when I was in New York, I was just bad, man. I ain't listen to my mama. I ain't listen to nobody. I was just bad. But once we moved down here, it's like I just turned into a whole different person, living with my grandma. Getting raised with my grandma. So it just turned me to a whole different kid, and I changed my grades. Like everything just flipped. I was a whole different kid. So for me, it was good coming down here and moving from New York.
Oh, okay. No, that's great.
Yeah,
I do want
good.
to, and of course, you guys' grandmother was just so influential. I know how much she means to me. I can imagine, you have already mentioned as well how much she means to you. You talked about just.
I'm sorry, real quick. Can I interject? Because Don not gonna be a detail to me, but
no,
I
it's cool.
I just wanted to also say, like, when I moved, right? I moved.
Mm-hmm.
They were already down here for the summer.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
we were
we
just
used to
visiting.
visit, but what happened was, things was going up there, so they knew they were staying. I found out in a week's span of time I left down here. So they got to be down there and kind of absorb it. So they were just told, they didn't move to Augusta, quote unquote. They were just told they want to move back to New York.
Yeah, we want to come back.
I moved to Augusta, so
I was young, so I was just going with what I was told.
And what you said, our grandma, and God bless, but I realized that him, like being down here and seeing just the slow pace for him and more, no organized chaos, just organization. That's what he needed. He, like I said, he was very, 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 very difficult child to work with. So yeah.
No, I appreciate the insight. No, Don, you were gonna say.
Oh no, I was just saying it was good moving down here for me though. I liked it. It helped me. It helped me a lot.
No, that's good.
I bet he did. Yeah.
It's just because like I said, I know of you guys, but I never have really had a chance to kind of hang out with you all and just kind of have an appreciation just for big brother, little brother dynamic.
So you asked about like how New York is, and like for him, he probably he's younger, so of course not remembering too much because he spent more time in school here than there. Mine was the opposite, but what I will say is when you say bad, that's just a broad term we use. Behavior issue, he's just a boy. He liked to fight, like to play, but it was an everyday thing with him. Like he would go to school, different wrestle. That's it. But he had an attitude problem, so your teacher say, "I'm gonna tell your mom, I don't care." And every day he cared, because every day he came home, he showed he cared, you know what I'm saying? But then he go back home, and it's like, once again, I say organized chaos, because he knew his day gonna be like, we're gonna be good today? Yeah, we sure are. No, he ain't being good today. But it's you become a product in your environment.
Right.
Yeah.
So even though we playing and we laughing, that's how it starts. You see the movies, it always starts with that one kid that just like, a little bad kid. Your mom say, stay away from that kid. He's one of the kids, you want to just stay away from him. He's a daredevil. Like, what's wrong with him, So it was more so that, and then he had a temper problem when he was younger. So
like you say, and I appreciate you saying that, just in terms of bad being this relative term. I mean, it could be a manifestation of things. It could be, hey, likes to talk, or, like you say, just like conflict. But, like I said, credit to your family, credit to, Augusta in a lot of ways for, just, giving you structure, giving you purpose.
Definitely.
I do want to shift and talk about Butler because I can imagine that a lot of that structure, like basketball, brought that to you. When did you know that basketball was something that you really loved? Not just something that you really loved, but was something that you were really good at.
Probably like 6th or 7th grade, probably. Well, when I moved down here, that's when I really started like getting into basketball and playing like organized basketball, if anything. Because when I was in New York, I didn't really play basketball like that at all. That wasn't even on my mind.
Trash.
Yeah, but once I moved down here, I going to school with certain people that played in different AAU programs and getting in them and then getting better and better. So probably about 6th or 7th grade, I knew I could be good. And then once I got to like 8th or 9th grade, that's when I started taking like real serious.
That's interesting to hear you say because, we know of New York as this basketball mecca. Mm-hmm. But then while you're in New York, like just no interest in basketball whatsoever.
And I tried. I mean, you see, like my daughter a little while ago, I said, you want to shoot? No, that was him. No, I don't want to do that. He wanted to fight. That's all he wanted to do. He wanted to play and fight. That's all he wanted to do. He wanted to shoot a basketball or nothing. Crowd to come outside, not to play basketball. So we had a goal in my grandma's backyard. So that's the detail once again. He ain't gonna say that, but that's what kind of did it. That's how we bonded. We didn't have nothing else down here. There was nothing to do. We couldn't go to this block, that neighborhood. Mm-hmm. It was inside, out. It's the South. It's in, out. Mm-hmm. That third time you come in, you're gonna stay in. So we bonded over basketball, and he just got really good. I don't know where really.
Yeah, playing in the backyard too. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, playing in the backyard.
For sure. As far as going from New York to Augusta, you alluded to it a bit. Was that a tough transition for you?
It was so quick. Just the moving part or just being down here?
I'll say the move, but also the change of pace, because that's a dramatic change of pace.
The move wasn't tough because of I won't use astrology, but I'm a type of person I like to balance things out. So I looked at the
He's
pros.
Libra.
I'm a Libra. There you go. Looked at the pros and the cons of it, and I was like, it was more pros than cons for me at the time, especially with all what's going on in situations and things of that nature. But I had a week. You know what I'm saying? I found out on Tuesday. I came on Tuesday. That was it. So it wasn't hard. Now coming down here was a little tough because like when I first came, being Butler right now, I first came to Butler. I was like, well, am I here? Why am I here? Like, what is going on? You got a gothic group. You got it looked like a Disney movie. I was like, you got the jocks. You got everybody with the bees, with the Letterman jackets. They got those. Then you got the pretty girls. You got the other girls. You got this. I was like, it's like Disney. Like Channel 56, it's like this is like. So yeah, it was different because I wasn't used to that. I'm used to all minorities. I never went to school with. I can't think of like one white person I went to school with my whole life until I came to Butler.
It's the way that I'm hearing you describe it, because you were talking about New York being this melting pot, and Butler was like that, but it was just demographically different, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I guess so. It's not because it's not really a melting pot here per se because it's just white and black. Mm-hmm. That was it. It's white and black. I never been in that gray area per se. It was always a bunch of minorities, but we just all in the same community together.
Gotcha.
This was like half and half. Not even really half and half really because this was like more of a other kind of school than black. So at the time,
Don, I want to ask you just about being here, and we're here in the Butler High School gym now. Just being in here, what type of memories are coming back for you?
Good memories, man. A lot of good memories, man. A lot of high-scoring games, good games, bad games too. It's a lot though, man. I miss playing in the gym though.
Talk. You remember like your, high-scoring output
in this gym?
Mm-hmm.
Man, probably 30 something. I don't know. I never really scored probably 40. Not 40. About 40, like in the region tournament, probably. Yeah.
When y'all was losing to Effingham, South Effingham.
Yeah. Probably like 40 in this gym. Yeah, about 40.
Just kind of take us through that game a little bit, and just and like I said, I know it's been years ago.
I still remember some of them though. So for that game, like my brother said, we was losing most of the game. Well, I don't even know if they was a good team.
They made every shot.
It was a hot paced game.
They made every shot. Y'all play zone. I never, and I'm not critiquing the coach. I'm like, they making all the threes. They still playing zone. I just don't get it. Like they're not missing no threes.
Yeah.
They
white
went
boys
man,
and everything. Yeah.
And then it opened up everything from there.
Yeah, it was like a high pace. The score was like 90 something to like 80 something or 70 something. We ended up winning though, but it was a high pace game. That's all I could remember for real.
What was your mindset, being in a game like that, and just really, just in general? Because You know, we talk about just, and really the CSRA is really just a good community for basketball. I think we're seeing that more recently now than ever.
Yeah.
But when you were a Butler, man, I don't want to say it was Don Island, but you were the go-to player. What was it like having that expectation of greatness on you every night?
Just another day for me, man. Cause just growing up, I was usually always the guy that everybody looked up to, or was counting on. So like once I got to high school, it was kind of like the same thing from 10th, 11th, 12th grade. Like I was just used to it, so I liked it. It wasn't like a normal day for me, for real.
Got you. Man, I want to bring you in here on, excuse me, because this is where, like I said, I got to know you, and correct me if I'm wrong. This is the genesis of More Than the Masters in some ways. Aside from the storytelling component of wanting to say, hey, there's more to Augusta than this golf tournament. Another part of that was, hey, I want you guys to know about my brother. He's, doing an incredible job over here at Butler, and he's getting ready to take his game to the next level. How much of MTTM is, telling the Don Coleman story?
I would say it's a high percentage of it, a good portion, just because when I started to do like the media aspect of things, I wasn't really talking per se. I was filming. I went to Renton, I got a camcorder, and I would film his games. So that's what it started from. It started from me filming his games, and when I couldn't make him, his middle school games, Seagull at the time, when I come back home from work, we'll watch him. Should have did this, should have did that, should have this. The goal was to send it to my dad, so he can also feel like he's there. This is 08, 09. It wasn't like I could just email it, a big file. It's different now, I had no way to send it to him, but that was the goal. But that helped, and it started something else, because then I started to come to AU games. And what I started to do was I seen people have highlight tapes and stuff like that. So I reached out to Chad Cook. He made a highlight tape one time.
Shout out Chad Cook.
Shout out to Chad Cook, definitely.
man.
And then from there, I said, hold on, I can do this. So I remember I got a new phone. It's a Droid too, silly me, but it had the best camera at the time. And I would use that coming games, and I started to edit them and put clips out on my own, Don highlights, on highlights. And that's how I got into media per se, because people like to watch the highlight films, and they couldn't, it was like, you knew what the AU tournament back in the day. It wasn't like it was, widely advertised if it wasn't Peace Jam. But then like, oh, your brother nice. And I would show them, look at my brother. So it started from look at my brother, you know what I'm saying, to like, oh, look at the city, So it kind of starts with him, yeah, definitely. That's a big portion of, me doing what I'm doing now.
Absolutely. And I mean, you two deserve credit, man. That's, and I think people in the city, they look at More Than the Masters, and rightfully so, because of just the work ethic that you have and just the interviews that you have, but just knowing your family and knowing of you all, the fact that really it's a brotherly love that inspired More Than the Masters, and that really powered it. I think it's just something that I really think the community should know. Like it comes from a good place, and I think that's just why both of you guys are so successful, man.
And just in the family aspect, one thing I would say is, I don't know if you know Zep. You know Zep.
Yeah.
Zep, like the RP Quan. So one thing about it is that person, that death, that one that happened, it made me start to talk in front of the camera as well. I was like, Brooke was on the way, and my thing was anybody could die anytime. So I was like, if anything, I want to be able to see my mannerisms, how I talk, fast, slow, whatever, stutter, don't care. Because pictures is one thing, but to see it is one thing. So I started to do like little things, like I had melody to stop. I had little topics I would talk 20, 12 minutes, couldn't talk long at the time because you don't know what you're doing. So even that aspect of the thing just helped me railroad into doing stuff for him. So on that particular page, but I won't say on here, but that particular page, you'll see like family stuff, Don stuff, old stuff. You'll see 2012 me, 2013 Don. We got like videos of just, I'll send you links so you can see it, but you got videos of us just in a grocery store, who the best on the team, just funny stuff like that we were just doing on a day-to-day basis that people don't see. But the
predating just some of the TikTok and what we see now.
Definitely. Wait, this when Instagram first came out, when
videos that
you
still
couldn't
up
put
now.
videos on Instagram. Yeah, you couldn't. So
the same video you're talking about, one of my students was talking about that like the other day. That's crazy.
I seen you post, I seen you share it. So that aspect of things is kind of, but the hard work aspect comes from also him just watching, because this is somebody I watched really just go hard out of nowhere. Like, you asked me at the time, although my brother, he was all right guy, he got better, his attitude and stuff, but then when he started to get really, really good, or he started taking it serious, he won't never be home. He always outside. Outside on the go. Ethic is crazy. He'll have a tournament that day. They'll win. He'll tell me, I gave you such and such 40 points today. All right, cool. Come back to the neighborhood and play with the neighborhood people like, and still high level competition. Like, he's still killing them. He don't care. We go inside, whatever. We go back outside later on night and we play each other one-on-one. All day just playing, all day. So when I be going hard and I do it, it's like you learn it from, subconsciously through a person that you've seen do great things, but you realize a lot of work got to be put in to even get to that level. So.
Don, is that a love of the game, or is it something else that's really pushing you and motivating you?
Back then, that was just love of the game, man. Yeah, back when I was coming up, 'cause I just wanted to be good. Like, and then people I was playing AAU with was better than me at the time, so I knew I just had to keep working, and then that's what I was doing, just working.
For sure. I want to say you mentioned Zep Jasper.
Yeah, shout out to
Who were
Zep.
some of your other peers just during that time? Because again, we're seeing a rebirth of Augusta basketball scene at that time.
Yeah, around that time,
Aubrey.
Jay Sean, Darius, can't forget about Darius.
There's Jordan.
Darius, from Josie, who else, man?
Far when he said peers or whatever, but you got people that life happens, right? Bubba. That was the guy.
Nice. Yeah, Bubba, yeah.
And life happened, he ended up catching a case and like that, but once again, like,
Bubba,
that stuff.
Desmond Dunn, back when we was coming up, Dez was like the best one.
Dez was
little.
fire.
Who else? Dez, Bubba.
Yeah, you got
Zah was nice when we was younger. Zah coming up. Zah.
Yeah, definitely Zah.
But yeah, mainly when I was in Augusta coming up, probably like head to head, if I had to think of one person, it'd probably be Darius, like right off the bat. It was either me or Darius. That's who they was picking to be like the best scorer in the city, best player in the city type. It's either me or him. You picking me or him, really. Med too, I can't forget about Med.
Frank Booker.
Yeah, Med, Frank Booker too. Frank Booker. Huh? Med Yep, Med Hill, Frank Booker. That's only people I could think of for off the top of my head.
No, for sure, man. And then when you talk about those players, you talk about players that I want to say Frank Booker ended up at Oklahoma, might end up at Virginia Tech.
Yep.
D1 players, D1 as well. You went to Cal. Man, I feel like we should try to throw some of those clips in there. I had
clips.
and because you would have some scoring outbursts, man. I want to say the most notable outburst, I want to say you had like 20 points and a half.
Yep, the Maui, yep.
Talk to us about the Maui and about that experience.
That was crazy because when I was younger, me and my brother used to always watch the Maui. When Kimba was playing the Maui, all the players when I was younger, I used to watch it on TV and then just playing in it, like being able to play in it was even crazier. And I knew coming to that first game, my brother was telling me I was gonna have a big game, and then that Wichita State game I had 35, 27 in the first half. It was crazy. We still lost, but that was like one of the craziest games I've been a part of.
For sure. So you were like a Boondini Brown. You was hyping him up, saying like, "What did you see?"
I just felt that. I was like, because one thing about that aspect of things is like he was going through so much at the time. We look at kids as like, he's scoring 40, he's scoring this, but he was already doing that. But it was a lot of backstory, a lot of politics to that stuff. Like he's scoring 25, but the team want him to score 15 because they want somebody to score 25. So it was like going through. I'm like, yo, don't worry about that. Somebody gonna know. And I knew that he would have a game where even the media would decide, hey, he needs to be the person doing this. I don't know what y'all talking, what y'all doing, but it needs to be him. And I knew that big ESPN stage was set just for him. I just knew. I said, this is gonna be it. This is it. I ain't care if Wichita or not.
So, and for you, it's just your brother's undeniable talent.
Always. I always feel that way. Yeah. even when he say AAU he wasn't the best, whatever. He wasn't always starting, but you couldn't tell me that he wasn't better than him. At the time. I don't care if he scored 12 points, 3 threes in the third quarter or garbage time. I feel like he's better than all of them, in my opinion. I'm playing with him every day. So I just know what I see.
For sure. I want to ask you just about your transition because seeing you at Cal, seeing you have that outburst, we're thinking, hey, man, he's going to end up playing professional basketball in some league. Different things happen. You're here, you're a teacher, which is awesome. Because kids are going to come up to you, and I'm sure, you probably get called Steph Curry.
Yeah, all the time. And I got a picture with him, so it make it even worse now. Every day I hear it, yeah. For
sure. I just want to ask you, what type of conversations are you having with young people, when it comes to basketball and, just about some of the things that you experience, but also I'm curious to know what they're saying to you, what their questions are.
When they ask me questions about basketball, I just be telling them to stay focused and keep working, man, and just listen, because that's the problem I had coming up, like in college. When I did have them big games like that, like, me scoring 35 on ESPN and stuff like that, probably like later on throughout the week or like throughout the days following up, like I probably, had a big head or I wouldn't go as hard in practice or, I'm waving my coach off, stuff like that. So I be trying to tell the kids, just stay humble, man, because back around that time, I was humble, but I wasn't really like humble for real. I wasn't working as hard as I should have been back when I was putting up 35, because I was putting up 35 and 30, so I'm like, I ain't got to do this, I ain't got to do that, but it came and backfired on me later on like down in my career. So
This the only person I know was score 40. I remember one time you was here. It was at this. No, I'm sorry, I wasn't here. It was in Evans. But you scored 40. I don't know who y'all played. I can't remember. I think y'all played at school in Atlanta, something like that, or something like that. But he went through the back to go home. He was like, I'm out here in the back. He made sure he didn't go through the gym. So like, he scored 40, but don't want to get don't want to get like the kudos. I'm like, why not? I'm ready to walk with you. I want to get kudos too. I'm your brother. You know what I'm saying? Why we going through the back? But that's how he was. But then also in the same breath would that week, like, just practice. It's fine. Like, you know, like you can't do that. So
It's very interesting because you talk about, Don in New York, and like I feel like some of that just like stayed with you, but at the same time, like there's a humility about you, man. Like, kind of take us through that, man. It's an oxymoron. It's like in the one hand, you have a humble ball player or a ball player that doesn't want the accolades, but you still want that freedom of self to say, hey, look, this is my path. This is what I believe in, and you're saying now that, hey, that wasn't the right way, but just kind of take us through like your mind frame at that time.
I don't know, man. I think I just grew up, to be honest with you. Like I told you, living with my grandma, like she always made sure we stay humble too. Like, cause I remember when I first found out, I was like, we were staying down here for good. Like, and my grandma had to go school shopping for me. She bought me nothing but like church clothes, man. Straight church clothes, church shoes, and everything, Shaqs and all that from Kmart. I remember, and I had to wear it to school. So that right there just showed me like, okay, I got to get right. I got to humble myself. Like, I got to keep my grades good. My grandma used to stay on me hard too. So like, that really just humbled me in a way. Then I just kept that going, to be honest with you, man. I never been like a bragging dude. I just always been cool and humble for real.
Got you, man. You just rolling out. Listen, I remember the Shaq era, the Stephen Barry's era with the Starberries.
Hey, real quick, I when I came down, I bought some Shaqs, but luckily I had my own money and stuff when I came down, and I wore Jordans the first day. It was a Friday I started school. Don't ask me why I started on Friday, right? Started on Friday, and I said, "Oh, everybody got Jordans." I said, "I wore them Shaqs." I'd have been laughed out to school. You from Brooklyn with those?
For real.
I wore the Shaqs, and I beat them in Shaqs a lot of times in my time playing one-on-one. But yeah, I didn't wear them Shaqs nowhere but the backyard.
Okay.
Backyard shoes, definitely.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Let's talk about these backyard battles because, like I said, it's the oldest of three. I know I pushed my younger brother, man, and the younger brother always remembers the day that he beat Big Bro. Mm-hmm. Take us back.
Hey, I honestly don't remember, but if I had to guess, it'd probably be like 7th, 8th grade, probably, because that's when I started growing, started hitting my little growth spurt, started getting a little stronger. That's when I started really beating him. But before then, he used to always beat me.
Backing you down, or he was just facing you up?
No. Every way you could think about beating him.
Because he played too, though. So
right.
So it ain't like I was just getting over on him. He was really helping me too. So like, it wasn't really like he was sorry. He was good, just like I was good. I was just little and skinny, man. So he used to.
We talk about humility, like like having it, right? But on the court, I never had nothing, so I know he never had nothing. But we always talk like, so losing not the problem, not the hard part. It was me talking through it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and then going through it. Yeah.
Like, I'm telling you what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it. And he would get mad. Trick shots. I'm going to do a hook from over here. I'm going to do this. I'm opposing his legs, and then I'm calling him dumb as we doing it. Like, why you listening to me? Why you listening? I'm doing all this stuff. So it's more so that aspect of it getting in your head. But but my grandma, she told me stop playing him because he would come and he lost the temper. He lost the temper, right? But when we would play one-on-one, it always come back. I don't know what it was about playing one-on-one and losing every day. He knew he was gonna lose. And he would ask me. I wouldn't say Don's play now. I left him alone.
So we come home from school, right to the backyard. Yeah, right.
Let's go.
Right to the backyard.
And I'm like, all right. And then the thing is, I would let him back. We from New York, so in New York we played a 21 one-on-ones, or 16. Those are the only two numbers. And so I would let him get like the 14.
Yeah, 14 to 2.
On purpose. Like, I'm acting like I'm playing for real. I'm being an asshole. I'm sorry. I'm being an asshole.
No, you're good.
And I'm like, yeah. And then, so I'm like, all right, well, let's see how I come back. And I knew him come back. And I come back. And I was a shooter. I always just shot. Then he come up on me. I can dribble a little bit at the time, and not no more, but at the time I could. Crossing him up. He just getting mad at me. And I'm talking, I'm going 14. I might let him get 15 just to do it, You doing twos? All right. I throw it behind the air. As it's going in the air, I'm running inside the house, like from the backyard. He started chasing me. He's trying to fight me every day.
Yeah, grandma used to
every
have that.
single
Grandma
day.
used to have that, boy.
My grandma said, "Hey, Jermaine, stop damn playing him. Leave him alone. You know that boy ain't right."
How much did that feel you? Because like I said, shout out my kid brother Denzel, man. Man used to just own his head in the in hoops, man. But you could just tell, and like as a big brother, quiet as kept. We'll never say it to little bro, but we see y'all getting better.
Oh yeah,
like
definitely.
we know that day is coming. Where
I remember the day it happened. It was Christmas, and I remember my excuse was like, it was Christmas. But I knew he had one for real. So I couldn't even use that excuse like it was Christmas. And boy, he ran inside the house. I beat him. I was like, walk in here real quick. See, they gonna say to me, but it was fine. It was fine. I beat him plenty after that, but he was like, he just had gotten stronger and better and bigger. There's nothing you could do at that point,
That's awesome, man. Like I said, man, I'm just so impressed with y'all journey. And like I said, for me, just the defining, like I said, what makes all of this is just the relationship that y'all have. And, just, big brother being protective, little brother, rising to those expectations, rising to the occasion, man. So that's dope. I want to shift gears and talk about more than the Masters, because again, we have this media entity that is rising out of, your basketball talent. Is rising out of, you just saying, hey, I want to chronicle not just the story of our family, but other stories in Augusta. Why is that personally important to you? Just being able to tell people stories.
I like doing it. I just became accustomed to like doing it, but I just felt like people gonna know what you put out there, and me being from where I'm from, you take a lot of pride in being from there. Like you're not from Brooklyn, but when you see somebody from Brooklyn, they're gonna let you know I'm from Brooklyn. It's a thing, it's like it's a pride thing, and I wanted to bring that here as well. 'Cause I like it. I like it. I like Augusta. I like what it's about, the arts, the sports, the politics, everything about it. I like Augusta, and I want to bring that same level of pride to a city like this, because I don't see why it can't be there. Why you can't be proud of where you're from. All this history we have here, all this, whether it's sports, whether it's economical, whether it's Black history, whether it's white history, whatever the case may be. Like it's any facet of history you can think of is here as well. And some of this is the jump start to a lot of things if you do your research. So to me, it's always important to bring that aspect to the podcast ring in a way where it's still entertaining but also informative. So if you look at anything I've done, I might entertain, I might joke, laugh, play, whatever, but it's always a message there somehow, some way. And if I have to cover information with jokes and fun, I will do so. So that's my thing,
I want to piggyback off of that because, like you say, I just think just the way you post on social media, people probably say, "Oh man, that guy doesn't take anything seriously." But and Don, I'm gonna get you in on this as well. Maine strikes me as a very deliberate person, like a person who, like, the things that he does are very intentional. Has he always been that way?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah. I would say so, yeah. I would say so.
For sure. Man, talk about that and just being a deliberate person. Like even in the joke, it's a nugget in there I want you to kind of get.
I mean, yeah, my thing is, for me, I think it's like, I don't do nothing without a purpose. Everything I'm doing is for a purpose. Whether it's not speaking to you, speaking to you. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's joking, not joking, being serious, not being serious, whatever the case may be, it's always intentional, always for a reason, or always because I'm looking. It's like chess. Your move is for another move. So everything I'm doing is for something else. But this joking and it depends what it is. If it's back and forth, I'm joking with you probably because I don't want to choke you or something. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? When it comes like to just being playful, I always been like that. They'll tell you I play all day. I'm serious too though.
That's just a demeanor.
But I've always played all day. But it's always for a bigger purpose. We got a cousin who I always joked on, like, and his dad was like, his dad not a clown.
So I'm sorry.
No, talking about Jeremy. But he was. Like, when he came around, he'd be like, "Ooh, got a quarter in here." He just pull out stuff, and I always joked on his dad, like joked on him, like, "Your dad's a clown." Da, da, da. Yeah. But it wasn't in this to be a joking sense, but more so like that's the only way I can make him tougher because I seen that he wasn't as tough. I always felt like if family do it first, when you go outside, it's fine. Because I love you. It's love here, Right. But so even that was intentional with him. Like, I joked on him. Don, I joke on him. I know how to get to him. I know what's going to make him pissed off, what's going to make him cry. But if we do it here, outside is fine. So it started just doing that, like a protection thing, a mechanism. Like, okay, well, I might can't go outside and just, at least by example, I don't go outside fighting. But Don, I tell you, anybody ever played me outside? You know what I'm saying? That ain't never happened. And we lived in some rough neighborhoods. And whether we new there or old there, nobody ever did that. But it's always because, like, letting you know, like, you can play and joke, but still, it be for real. But he wasn't able to come up with how I came up in at least them years. That 10 to 14 years old was very crucial to me learning that. He didn't get that. So everything I'm doing, and I always been want to be a good example. So he'll tell you, I didn't smoke, I didn't drink, I hung around people that did it, but I didn't do it myself. I didn't hide it, I just didn't do it, I always thought, he's watching me. So I always did stuff to where I want him to do. Whether it's I like girls, you be like, cool, I'm being cool, I'm being myself. Everything's always intentional. And I always hung around people that were doing stuff that I necessarily wasn't doing. But he knew, okay, well, Jermaine always himself. So if anything, just be yourself, So
I think that's created too is just you guys' inclination toward fatherhood. You guys are, very much out and open. Look, baby girl's over there now.
Yeah, barely behind me. My shadow.
Man, talk about that, man, and just always having them around, man, and actually incorporating them in what you do in terms of media.
Yeah, that's probably the most beautiful thing of the media. I mean, I get a lot of accolades and stuff from stuff I do with whether it's politics or just a certain person that I'm able to share their story. My favorite stuff to do with my kids, like that's the best stuff to me. My oldest one getting older now, so she ain't with it all the time like she used to be. But even to see her, it's funny we saying this and you here. Remember the first one I did where she was counting, and I remember you had the Michael Sad face under my post on Facebook when she was really, really small. I watched her last week and she was like, that's crazy, like how she used to talk and how she talk now, how she look, how she look now,
Mm-hmm.
So even documenting just the growth of them. I love it. If I'm doing that, I always done that. Like Brooke has her first 18 months of document on YouTube as well. Brooke, 0 to 3 months, Brooke 3 to 6 months, 6 to 9 months. It's always something I do. So we talking about have always deliberately done something. All that's intentional. Even when I did the podcast then, I'm not saying I knew I was going to be what I am or to the city, but it worked. And look at me now. So when I have Brooke on now, I'm doing these one-on-ones, and I'm like, that's crazy. Like, we having a real conversation now. I used to have to like say this, don't say that. I'm gonna have to have the culture, not the culture no more. Culture me. Daddy, speak up what you said. Like, re-say that word. How you messed it up. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a beautiful thing. And I like to do that, but also it's always intentional. He'll tell you the same thing. He'll go through trial and tribulation or whatever, but one thing he never went through trial and tribulation with is being a father. I'm gonna have my son. If I teach him anything, my siblings, anybody around me, is stay with your kids. Always be with your kids. I took my daughter to work with me yesterday.
What's up?
Like, we gonna be together or whatever. And nothing gonna be more important than family, And I've always been that way. They'll tell you that all my life. I didn't go to school away from school because I want to be with him. He was going to 6th grade. He said, I'm play ball. I said, all right, cool. I'm gonna stay here because who else gonna do it? So
about Don and look, because how many kids do you have?
One son. Yep.
He's got 100 kids now. He's a science teacher.
Right? Yeah.
You right. Now you right. I was just telling that like the other day. I was like, y'all basically my kids too. You right. Yeah, you right. Yeah.
And you be seeing them outside and about, which is crazy.
Yeah.
He's still young enough to be out, so like he sees them, like, and then where we be at, it's zone school. So you see him at Dollar General. He said he saw a kid that been misbehaving in his class one day.
I just called his mama like 2 days before I seen him. Then like I ended up seeing him at Family Dollar with his mama and his daddy. I said, you see how God works, man? Crazy. Because outside of school, they don't even think I'm a real person outside of school. Like the other day, a kid was asking me, like, Mr. Combs, what you doing when you leave here? I'm like, what you mean? I got a whole kid, man. I got a whole life. He's like, you don't just stay here all day? I said, no, bro. That's not how it works, man. Kid's funny, man.
That is funny.
How much of are there any of the kids that you kind of see yourself in?
Yeah, a lot of them, man, for real. Especially the ones that play sports, football and basketball, a lot of them, man. And I stay on all of them. Like, I teach 8th grade, but I talk to the 7th graders when I'm in the hallway, 6th graders, like even 8th graders that's not on my team. Like, I'm talking to everybody. I know all their names, like, because they all come in my class. They all like my class. They all like me, so they try to get as much information from me as they can. And they be asking me like a million questions, like every day. Like, it's a different question or a different subject every day.
That's like I said, I'm so happy for y'all. I got to ask, man, what's next? I'm going to start with Maine. What's next?
Oh, for me, I mean, I'm trying to just, elevate. Like, whatever was next, whatever the next level for me. So whether it's interviewing, whether it's podcast, whether it's something different, it could be talk show stuff. I'm down for whatever, but it's about growth for me. It's not even a what's next thing. It's just about growing and continuing to do so, because I look at everything like it's a marathon, not a race. So whatever I'm sprinting, whatever next I come across, I hope I'm just successful at it. Whether that be producing, whether that be doing more of these, whatever it is, or whether it be supporting my daughters now that, or my brother or my sister or my mom. Like, I'm down to do whatever. Just anything to help the family, I'm going to be down to do. So, for more than Masters, I mean, Augusta ain't going nowhere. It's Augusta. So my goal is to keep digging, keep bringing that history, keep highlighting people in the city, make people feel like they love where they from, and I mean I can't get no better than that. Like, to me, like that's the main thing for me. Just making sure that the message is crystal clear each and every episode, and to continue to gain support and viewership through good work.
Well said, man.
For me, man, basketball season. I could say that basketball season and just growing as a man still and as a teacher. But basketball season coming up. I'm coaching this year, so I would say basketball season next up for me. Just getting the boys ready for the season, man.
That's exciting. So you're coaching at
Spirit Creek.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yep. 8th grade. Well, not 8th grade, middle school in general. But yeah,
That's dope, man.
basketball and track. But basketball is next up, so that's what I'm focused on now for real.
Damn. All I got, man. I really glad I was able to sit down with y'all, had this conversation today. This was important to me. Like I said, just having the synergy of y'all being here. I would be remiss if I didn't say my brother who passed, his birthday will be Wednesday.
Yeah, God bless it, definitely.
Do this in James Macon's honor. And like I said, shout out my kid brother. I mentioned Denzel earlier. This is a podcast about brothers, man. So glad to have you guys on for this occasion. And
But I want to ask you, like, kids wise and stuff like that. You think you finished or what you want? Because you got all boys, right?
I got two, man.
All boys.
Listen, I can tell y'all, man, wife wants to have more. I'll put it to you like this.
Hey, whenever they tell you a backstory, you know the answer.
No, you know the backstory. But no, and you guys can appreciate this. The great responsibility in raising like just the one. And just making sure that, that they stay on the, straight and narrow and, not just like I want my kids to be exceptional.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So if you just feeding the kid and taking them to school, like that's relatively easy. But if you want your kids to be like truly great, like that, like requires it's just like being a great basketball player, like being somebody great in the media. Like you got to put in the work, you got to put in the time, and with 2 or 3 kids, it's fairly feasible. It takes a lot, but when you start talking about 4, 5, 6 kids, man, like that just stretches you so far, and requires more from your support system. The beautiful thing about you guys' story is that you guys have always had each other. You guys have always pushed each other in a way that's made you guys greater. I have that, but when you start talking about 5 or 6 kids, man, it's got to be more expansive. It's got to be, you got to get grandparents involved or
Yeah, definitely.
Additional parents involved. So that's just something that, maybe that's something that is in the cards for me. And then look, you guys may ask me this later and I'll say, yeah, man, I'm ready to have like 3 or 4 more. But right now,
it's definitely a time thing. Like maybe not today, but then something happened for you. You come across some things financially wise, you better, things looking different, life looking better. Okay, we can. That works now in this equation. And if it don't work, ain't no point in doing that. I get it. I definitely understand a lot going into that. I did want to say, I know we ain't mentioned it all. We got a sister. I know we told brother, we got a sister. I have to say, shout out to Ty, love you to death. And that's like the glue to everything though. Like,
Yeah.
we got a good dynamic, but the thing about the family, because you mentioned just a second ago about how, we all just tight knit and having the support, whatever. All we have with each other. It was me, him, and her.
okay, my apologies.
So yeah, it was just, and he's the youngest. I'm the oldest. My sister's right in the middle. She thinks she's the boss of everybody, of course. So that also.
And she went to Butler too, so I mean.
Yeah, she went here too. Yeah, definitely. And probably the reason for most of his temper problem when he was younger, because they fought a lot. But I just want to make sure I say that part because
She'll get mad.
Nah.
She will get mad though.
At
She
him,
ain't gonna say
she
it.
mad at
I
him.
was about to say, look, the middle child,
Might
they always
still.
feel like they left out anyway.
But it just make, because, we talk about the grandma and coming down and all that stuff. And obviously, the sports people always think, and it's common, they think, okay, well, we the closest. But what I tell you is this. Me and my sister are super close, and him and my sister super close. Me and him super close. We all do close differently, So like, I don't say we get mad at each other, but like, my sister might call me, what's up with your brother? Da, 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 He might call her, oh, I don't know Jermaine, da, da, da. It's like, it's that kind of dynamic. So we all, it's like a checks and balances with each other. We just super cool like that. Even my mom, like all 4 of us are just like one. So when you said that, I had to make sure I put that out there. Like, it's a mother and a sister with us, but the question you asked was catered towards us, and it always to us. And they always just let us. They step back and let us do our thing, but they tell me wrong. Hey, Jermaine, you need to step in and talk to your brother. Don't be fan Jermaine, be brother Jermaine right now. So all right, cool, So yeah, they was very instrumental in everything as well. Especially my mom. That's like they like best friends. So
Definitely.
he get anything he wants. So yeah, mama's baby.
Oh yeah. Man, that's good, man. I can see us probably just, because I know what you'll do if it, like in your format, you just kind of just run it straight through.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
But there's some good stuff in there.
No, I like that. Yeah,
It was good.
he normally say, because and with him, you know, like even in sports, they do interviews and they talk, but nobody ever asked him to talk in depth. You got your Jalen Roses and stuff who want to do that form of media, but with sports, it's just like, had a good game, da da da. All right, cool. So they answer like that sometimes, you know, and then take a step back, like think about the detail. But he did a podcast. I don't know if it's birthday at all, but he did a podcast a month ago.
Evan.
Yeah, and I thought it was good, right? And to me, I just was like, you know, I know, because I know what I know. I would have been like, well, hold on, don't skip the cow to South Alabama. Let's talk about that real quick. But I feel like he always mentioned, I told him the same thing, like, as kids that when they look at him, they want to get some insight or how should I navigate through life.
Mm-hmm.
That part of Cal to South Alabama and what reasons, whatever, truth, whatever, perspective, whatever you want to give, is going to be important to that child and decisions he make. You know, him saying, well, you know, I would score 30, but then, you know, I'll be like, he'll tell, you need to say that on the pod so that the person know I might score 30, but I ain't did nothing yet. You know what I'm saying? So it's little stuff that, you know, I know I would have made him tap into. I know there's no time limit though, but I want him to get out, let's talk more about those type of things. Talk more about, you know, when you played for Butler, and I remember you got in this very gym, y'all played Glen Hill. Y'all could have won. You pissed me off. Yeah, you pissed me off because he stopped playing. I don't know what he had an attitude. I know him got into it, but then he wouldn't get back in the game. And he was right there to Quinn. He wouldn't get back in the game. Cool. He gets suspended for a game, whatever. They lose. They play at the Michael Martin Luther King tournament that's in Evans every year. They played Aquinas. I'm mistaken. Yeah.
Evans and somebody
I lost, and they shouldn't have lost, right? But what it does is, in his mind, he like, yeah, he shouldn't have suspended me. No.
Yeah, back when I
shouldn't have got suspended.
Yeah.
So I could beat my brothers to have a good game, because ain't no telling how that's being spun to recruiters and stuff like that. So when you think about that, that's just one instance. It's more than those, you know, but I be wanting him to kind of tell those tales sometimes, because those are important to me. Him scoring 35, whatever, I can say that math prep. It looked good on highlights, yeah, but what happened after that game, you know? What did they say after that game? Why were they mad that you scored 35? Why did they, you know? That's what I want him to get more into to telling, but I know he got to take a step back and do what he's doing and kind of get it out to people as he can, but that's important to me, detail.
There's a lot in there that you expressed, and I'll just kind of tell you this because, and like I said, having covered high school sports since, make sure, 04. And the thing for me is just like you said, like the one word answers. The solution for me is to have like a curriculum or a time that you step aside, have a journalist, somebody like myself or somebody like yourself come in, speak with the athlete, kind of coach them up to say, okay, when we ask you this question, like you're allowed to get into that range of emotion, because most athletes, you know, your coach is telling you, well, make sure you thank your teammates.
Right.
And, you know, the guys blocked for me. But there's more there. I mean, you could say, sure, you can give credit to your teammates, but there's also, hey, I saw this on the floor. You know, I was able to get to the lane. Like, but to me, it's just like everything else. Like you really have to, like, you know, you have to instill those values and instill those perspectives, so that there's a greater appreciation.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think the athletes need a little more of that sometimes. Not we focus on the statistics a lot, but we all know, we all grown now. There's so much more that's not, that ain't no, it's no stat for certain things that's important. So some of the most important things ain't no stat for it.
Yeah.
You know, ain't no stat for humility, ain't no stat for respect. You know, there's no stat for that. It just is. Or you either got it or you don't have it, you know? But the stats and stuff, we glamorize, and that's cool. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But, you know, I wish, like, you know, he would come back, talk to the schools. Hey, you know, I know you're the man, you know. I was the man before, you know. It's like, what's the movie? Above the Rim, you know. It's like Kylie Watson. Like, he wants to listen to the dude, you know. That's this guy, you know. Like, but sometimes I get it, cause like, get out my face, because you in your prime, you the man. You like, get out my face, like, leave me alone. But it takes somebody to show, like, look, I done been through this. You ain't got to listen to what I'm saying, but just understand that this happened. It wouldn't happen if this didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? So just stuff like that.
For sure. How you doing? Oh, okay.
I'm about done. You done? Yeah,
we're pretty much done, man. We Okay. I thought you was asleep, man.
Yeah.
You as well, Principal. Those your keys right here, or?
Probably.
Oh, okay. Yeah, man. I've been thinking about that for many years, man. It's I was thinking about doing it in Aiken County. guess it's technically making a difference is the podcast. Yes, sir. We'll send you a link to the pod. All right.
Appreciate it.
But yeah, man. Because like I say, I watch it. You know, I watch the, Friday Night Football, and guys ain't saying much of anything.
I just feel like sometimes for me, when I choose a player I like, or like I'm gonna use Jalen Rose for example. Only 'cause I read his book, but I always liked him. I didn't know why, but I liked his interviews. He said more than some other players would say. He knew how to speak well, so I always liked that about him. Damn the points. I mean, you won't get those anyway. You in the NBA, you a top player. You and your team, you a player of the game. You must be a top player. But it's something about a player who can articulate and answer questions right after. If I like NBA or NFL podcasts sometimes, because having a player that can actually speak and speak well, give you detail, give you stories, like, oh, it's amazing. Who knew Paul George could talk like that? I didn't know that. Like it's something, and I like his stuff. I didn't know that though. He's a good player regardless, but now I'm seeing a different side of him. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody got it now. Don't get me wrong. Everybody's not great, but Paul George is not like JJ Redick. Didn't know he had that in him. I'm a big Duke fan. I never knew JJ Redick could talk like that. Never knew he was that smart.
Everybody can't be perfect, but go ahead.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Duke fan. He's
I love,
Yeah, he been loving Duke.
Yeah, you know.
Where'd that come from, man? How New York got in that room for Duke?
Down here, huh?
No.
no.
You know who you think it stemmed from? What point guard you think it stemmed from?
Oh man, New York. Because at first I was gonna say, I felt like Elton Brand's from Peekskill or something.
Not Ellen Brand. So, motorcycle accident.
Oh, Jay Williams.
Oh,
Jay Williams.
Yeah, Jay Williams.
I watched him hit a game winner one time from like almost half court. I said, I like them. That was it. It was that simple.
Jay Williams.
And I started watching Duke every time. When I came to him, Jay Redick was already.
I'm about saying you love JJ Redick.
I love, but they always pick good. I always thought they pick good. I wasn't crazy about the 90s. I was young, but when I started watching college basketball, that was the team I liked. I liked Krzyzewski, how he coached. Even when they lost, and like they don't be sore losers. They just lose and they go about their business. I always like that. You could lose and you win from that sometimes. Every some losses you win from, depending on how you act after the loss. You know what I'm saying? So I always like that though. I mean, I don't know too much about the whole Duke stuff, but as far as what I saw on a basketball tip, I like.
No,
that.
I know. Listen, to say
I know how you. I know you be in your bag sometimes, so I make sure. Just on a basketball tip, I like Duke.
Nah, man, it's because I root for Kentucky, and Kentucky's in that same kind of like really dog. Because if I had it to whenever you like and pick teams, I'd be a North Carolina fan. Because of the civil rights history of North Carolina, and some of that stuff still is going on now. I ended up rooting for Kentucky because I used to carpool with a guy who loved Derek Anderson.
Oh, I was like, Derek Anderson too, yeah.
Derek Anderson, say less, and he punched on Louisville, and I said, okay, yeah. And that was 96 or 98. I think it was 98. Yep. So, because Kentucky won 96, they won it all. 97, they should have won it all, and in 98, they came back and got it again. So, yeah, man.
Yeah. It happens, man.
He's gonna get a chance to tell his story.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I think in due time, like I said, and I purposely haven't done nothing with him because, like I said, you want to get acclimated into just the real world. Real life happens. So, like I said I said it on another podcast. I'm doing so many podcasts right now. I don't know, but I said, I need to step back and just be his brother, not be a fan. I need to be his brother. So I purposely didn't have him on a podcast on purpose. I didn't have him talking on purpose. I could easily do it any day. See him every day. I can easily do it. I just felt like it was time just to be a brother for a little minute and just focus on family, do our thing we gotta do. And then when the time is right, we can go ahead and have that story, have that dialogue. He might get a head coaching job somewhere. All right, let's do a podcast on it. Now let's talk about some of that stuff. Time wasn't right, and I need to go through it and listen and really know whatever mistakes he made and what mistakes was made with him. Cause I had my own faults with that. I feel like as a brother, every time I was just a fan too much, and I wasn't a brother too much. I should have been like, hey, look. F how you feel, you wrong, but I was you right, you know me. I'm like, F that person, you right, man. That was me, and in hindsight, you kind of hurt because now if I say you're right, he know he's right for real. Now if I'm saying you're right, so I should have stepped back sometime and be like, nah, you kind of in the wrong. But I didn't do that.
I just think the margins, man. Like when you start talking about, because you have high school, and like I said, you be great in high school, and that speaks for itself. Put the jersey up, be beloved in the city forever. And then like that separation between high school and college is something, especially D1, it's just so different. And it's just those margins, man. It's not like talent. It was never a question. Like I said, it's like, man, you're like a microwave, man. You just a bucket, you know what I mean? But it's just, that separation, is it some people say politics. Politics looks like a lot of different things: relationship with coaches, relationship with teammates. You know, how you make people feel. You know, off the
Definitely
court
politics.
stuff. You know,
But ain't no stat for it. Like I said, you know,
Right.
that important part that gets you that one, two things people have when they go to NBA, they don't go. Ain't no stat for it.
Mhm.
Ain't no stat.
So,
It's what it is.
all right, man. I appreciate you, brothers, man.
It's dope, man. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man.
Always, always, always.
Kind of far. I'm just do it through him, man.